Okay, good. I thought you were dead. Chantal, like we were talking yesterday. I thought maybe you were dead. You're not here, you're dead. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody to WASDE, the 10-minute trades trade room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-minute trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. It's possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. So look, I want to talk to everybody very seriously about WASDE. WASDE has been a family money trade, and today is the first time in a long time that we took the moniker off. Uh, it, I took the moniker of the family money trade off because, very honestly, it's been a 50-50 trade. So, what is a 50-50 trade? It's a coin toss. It works half the time. Now, you could have a coin toss trade that works half the time, and it could still be quite profitable because your winners could be much larger than your losers. But WASD unfortunately hasn't quite been that way when we've lost. They've been pretty big losers. The winners have been good also, but the losers are pretty good because usually we trade quite a few contracts. So part of the problem is if we look at the current, let me just pull up a couple of different things. The current daily report calls for a standard breakout, and we've been doing a lot of testing, and I believe I'm going to trade differently today. So I would not um, hold it against anyone, which I never would anyway. If you didn't want to trade today, you don't have to be embarrassed about it because if you look at WASD, it's been challenged 50-50, okay? 50-50 on both corn and soybeans. They've been difficult to trade. And the winner was small last month, 26 ticks in January. So WASD's just, it's been troubled. I mean, that's the honest truth. It's been a little bit troubled. I still really like the trade, but we've gone back and Chantal and I have done a lot of research. And if you can make the tiers big enough, we can trade a trap trade on WASD. And now, again, I would recommend, if you're going to trade it, don't trade very big. Don't trade a lot of contracts. Today might not be the day to trade both instruments at the same time, okay, because of the behavior. If you go back to April, look how poorly WASD worked from October to April. 4 out of 6 losers on corn, okay, and 50-50 on soybeans. And March was a small winner. Last month, we saw an early move on soybeans. So let me show you what I mean. Last month. So look, this is a trade that I still, in my heart, I still consider it a family money trade because it has a very good possibility of making money. But if we look at it strictly from a risk profile, then WASD is difficult. Okay. That's the truth. It's difficult. I hope, okay, I don't have to hope. Here's our video. This was last month. So watch. About a minute before the event news gets released, soybeans behaves as if the news came out. Watch. Now, very often that's a reason why you might cancel a trade. When you get a pre-release movement that's unnatural, that's not an excuse. It's a reason to cancel a trade because the risk is up higher than normal. Watch what happens. I hope it was this month. I hope my memory is not flawed. There should be a big burst up right now if I have the right memory. And I don't think I do. Darn it. Maybe it was 2 months ago. Last month, we tried a trap trade. And on soybeans, and it didn't work for me. I couldn't get out fast enough. Corn, it was a very small winner. Now in sim, I wasn't able to manage it at the same time as I was doing the trap. Okay. I think if I had been paying attention only to the trap trade, I might have done better. But in the testing, I like corn better, just as a trap and as a breakout. Soybeans have been trickier to trade in this report. And they do have a different setup. It's not the same setup. They're very different instruments. They are definitely very different instruments. So, part of the problem is that, and it's not part of the problem, one of the issues is that they are very different instruments. They behave radically different from each other on the report. I'm just wanted to show you what soy did, and maybe it was 2 months ago. I just want to give you an idea what it looks like when, no, I'm not going to spend time looking for a video. It's more important to get the setups. So part of the issue today is it's possible you could do a breakout, okay? Of course you can do a breakout, but for 6 months, WASDE has been moving in one direction and then changing direction. So it's been lending itself very well to a trap trade. And because it's been troubled as a breakout trade, I think we have to move forward for a little while using some alternative setups. So what I'm going to do, let me just get my charts totally correct. I want to trade corn as a trap trade. And let me show you last month's event. It was a teeny winner, possibly, if you didn't use the trap. And if you use a trap, it was very good behavior. One of the tricks is you want to wait. Sometimes you might have to wait 2 or 3 or even longer minutes for the trap trade to play out. It's possible. Last month, it was great. It was just an excellent trap trade. It went in both directions. It went up, pulled back, and it was very, very good as a trap trade. Corn generally doesn't move quite as large as soybeans, as a general rule. Depending on whether you want to make money or not make money, how much you want to make. If you make your tiers extra large, your orders, in other words, if you make your tiers, if you put your orders on the chart further away than you wanted to, You might not get filled on your second tier, but it might prevent a stop out. Because remember, the behavior that you don't want to see in a WASDE report is a move in just one direction when you're doing a trap. When you're doing a breakout, a move in one direction is fine, okay? But when you're doing a trap, you want two directions in your trade. You want it to fill you on the initial move, and you want it to reverse for the profit. Now, if we look at all the WASDEs, you go back, you could take a look at April. I can tell you that I have all the WASDE reports recorded as trap trades, and they've traded well as traps. And, of course, there have been some winning breakouts also. And that's what's, challenging about making a firm decision on what to do in this report. April happened to be a winner, okay? It was a winning WASDE trade. And it was decent, it was decent. 275 bucks, but we also traded 4 contracts, and it really took its time. April really, really took its time. It took 5 minutes to reverse. That was one that really was really tough to survive. It was really tough to survive. It didn't stop us out, but it took 5 minutes. So, it's a very difficult, this is a difficult decision. That's the honest truth. It's a difficult decision. Soybeans were choppy in June. This is a tough decision, folks. That's all I can tell you. This is a tough decision. When I look over my testing, they both test well as a breakout. I'm sorry, as a trap trade. They both test well as a trap. So I'm going to set up corn. I'm going to set up corn. Here's how I'm going to set up corn. So we're doing a trap on corn. Give me a second here. And what I'm trying to decide, this is a tough decision, whether I want to trade soybeans or corn. Like I said, I don't want to do them both. It's hard to manage, okay? It's hard to manage. Corn as a trap is a tier of 18 on tier 1, and it's a tier of 30. Let me think if I want to do 30. Yep, I want to do 30. It's a 12 o'clock event. I want my orders on 7 seconds before the event. So my settings, the time of the event is 12. Activation preparation seconds is 7. 7 seconds before the news, my orders will show up on the chart. Tier 1 is 18, Tier 2 is 30, the stop is 22. That's the setup. It's not that complicated, okay? It's not that complicated. It's a question of whether, Andrew, I would say just watch for now. This is a little bit complicated, so I can't get to the questions right this second. Hang loose for a minute. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. So one more time. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. Wait for spike default is a 5. You don't change that. Price at the time, last fill price or defaults. Stop is 22. Tier 1 is 18. Tier 2 is 30. Time of event is 12. And then activation time, prep seconds, 7 seconds. So that's my corn trade. Now I'm going to leave myself the option of trading either one. So I'm going to set up both trades. Initially, I'm interested in corn. That's what I'm thinking. Let me just verify our time sync. And time sync is looking good. So you can see the corn trap is all set, okay? The corn trap is good. So let's set up the soybean trap. It's quite a bit of risk, so I don't want to trade both at the same time, but even more importantly, the real issue is it's hard to, these particular trap trades can be hard to manage because there could be a lot of movement. That's what I mean by hard to manage. So I'm definitely leaning towards corn. That's what I like better in the testing. The setups are different, okay? And I'm gonna not activate my soybean because if something should take place in corn, for instance, maybe it'll move early or something won't look right. I'd like to have the option of trading both so that I can, if something should happen in an instrument before a trade, I have the opportunity to do it, to trade it. So my tiers on corn, soybeans, I mean, are bigger. Okay, they're 30 and 42. Soy usually moves more, okay? Soy moves more. Preparation, I'm doing the 7 seconds with a stop of 22. So I've got, and I'll double check the settings, 22, 30, and 42. So what I was saying before is you could set up, now I'm not enabling my bean trade, because like I said, look, I'm pretty comfortable trading. I just want to make sure it works though. It can be tricky to manage these particular trap trades. It can be tricky. And look, this may not work, folks. It might, and that's why there's extra risk, I think, on WASDE today, because it's been a 50-50, and because it's been somewhat difficult over the past year. It's really been a year. It's been almost, it's been since October, November, December, it's been 7-8 months that it's been tricky to trade. And you can see the indexes are quite volatile. So on the old software, Andrew, the trap trade is the trap trade. So if you didn't download it, you don't have it, okay? There's 2 strategies. If you didn't download it, you don't have it. And I don't understand your question. Is there a way on a DMM to tell what bracket settings you would use on a specific symbol? It doesn't, that question doesn't make any sense to me. So what I'm looking for is a movement in corn to go up and down, preferably to go up and down. That's what I'm looking for. I'll try to be patient. I'll try. You know, if I'm able to see a profit, I'm going to take it. But like I said, I don't want to trade both instruments because it is a tricky trade. So this is trickier than normal. This is a report that there's no public release of the news in the sense that it doesn't show up on a calendar. Okay. It doesn't show up on a calendar. And if price just explodes in one direction, we'll get stopped out. But if it does what it's been doing for 6 to 8 months, popping, reversing, then the trap trade could be very good. The only way that Andrew, it's really simple. The way that we figure out what the bracket settings are is we back test the trades. So we're constantly going back and looking at the various reports. And then the way we have a procedure here where I will send Chantal a master list of reports that I'd like her to test. Then she goes through her system of testing. And we're going to have a webinar on how Chantal tests. And then I'll do a webinar on how I test, our testing. But that's how we come up with the values. We're not, you know, obviously we're not just picking them out of the air. We're looking at the previous reports and we're testing those previous reports. And that's how we come up with the settings. There's no other way, right? I mean, the only way you can do it is by back testing. And Ninja has the ability to play back. You know, I call it replay, but they call it playback. Okay. Now, in a trap trade, movement before the report is a little bit less worrisome because you're not looking for a trade just in one direction. So if it's volatile, you know, you don't have a bracket in the same sense. We don't have to worry about like a 5 or a 6 tick bracket that might get violated before the news. It's actually, if you're trading the breakout, today, increase the bracket sizes, okay? The bracket is a 6 on corn. I would not do smaller than an 8, and I would probably do a 10 on soy. And that means increase your stop by the same amount of ticks that you increase your bracket. And KT, Chantal and I have been talking a long time about trying to find the time to do these testing webinars. You can understand, I mean, we never have enough time to do everything. That's the biggest problem that we're always faced with, finding time. It's so hard. But this is one of the things we're very, very interested in, is finding the time to trade, to teach testing, because of how important it is. Certainly, there's a ton of videos. There's videos on our member website on how to use the market playback feature of Ninja. And I'm constantly in discussions with Ninja because I think there's still a bug that drives me crazy in their playback engine. And just yesterday, I was emailing back and forth with them about this bug. And so I hope that it'll actually be resolved. One of the tech support people actually made me think it could be resolved, that there was a fix, that I was doing something wrong, possibly that I didn't know. So that's what we're waiting to see. So, like I said, if the breakout, well, look, this is a silly point. If the breakout was 70% profitable, we'd be trading the breakout. So I wouldn't be doing a trap trade on corn and a breakout on soybeans. I was going to say, hey, we should trade the breakout on soybeans. But the reason we're not is because it's been more challenged over the past year. So this has been um, a pretty steady behavior of the instruments when the WASDE report comes out, meaning being able to work with a trap trade has been very common behavior of the indexes over the past year with WASDE. So it's not like, and we did it last month, and I think that it just was so fast last month I couldn't get out. That's why I lost money, because the trap worked. And I did it on soybeans last month also. And corn just seems, not always, but most of the time, to be a little bit more stable in its behavior. Now, of course, today it'll probably be the craziest movement we've ever seen corn make, because that's what happens. When you say something, the opposite often takes place. And we did get a seal of approval from my boss. In other words, my boss, the owner of this company, who originally designed the software. If I have a new idea, I always run it by him because he generates the DMMs and does some of the emailing. So, of course, if I have a different setup, WASDE, we want to do a trap, I run the setup by him. So, and sometimes he'll say to me, no, do not do that. And it's pretty rare that that'll happen because usually we can back up what we want to do with testing. So we got 2 minutes, and the event is at noon. And the indexes got quiet. The instruments got quiet. They're definitely quiet. So remember, 7 seconds before the event takes place, my orders are going to show up. My orders are going to show up. Now, I know you can't see that, but I can. I'm just looking. There's also some sort of a EIA report, a noon report. So 7 seconds before. You know, maybe it'll make a new low. So watch soybeans. They have had a tendency to move before the reports come out. It doesn't look like it's going to do it today. So there's my orders. That's exactly what I want. So soybeans moved crazy, okay? Soybeans moved crazy. So I just was a big baby and I got out of the trade with $178 worth of profit, okay? Why did I do that? I thought I got a little bit concerned that the move on soybeans was so big and so directional that I'm extremely concerned that corn is going to go just in one direction. Okay. And we're not going to get a strong enough reversal. Now, look, I could be 100% wrong. It was actually a $140 trade, 150 because I was $20 profitable. But corn, look how quiet it is. Soybeans was a good breakout today, a better break, but it did reverse. I'm telling you, it reversed. It would have been okay. I believe that soybeans actually would have been a better bracket, and I'll show you why. We can spend a minute or two. I just want to know, but look at soybeans, Mark. It was a huge move. And what's going to happen now is corn's going to continue down, and I would get out of all trades because these are very big moves, and you don't want to get stuck in the corn market. I honestly don't know where limit down is, but this is a pretty big move for the indexes before we got here. So I would play it very conservative and very safe and consider just not being in the market right now. And the breakout definitely worked on both. But what's fascinating is the trap trade gave me some money. But now look, now it might be doing its reversal. Remember, we said 3, 4, 5 minutes, but I was concerned at the size of the move. Sometimes soybeans can be a harbinger of what might happen in corn. And, it is folks, just the fact that I could get out with a profit today, I'm actually very pleased about that because I just think that WASDE is a challenge right now. The challenge is it's very hard to have faith in the setup because there hasn't been enough consistency in either of the setups live over the past 4 or 5 months to have that faith. So that's why I was willing to take, $150, $180 profit is what I was looking at. And right now, it's finally starting to change direction. Okay. It's 3 minutes after the trade. So I don't think I did a stupid thing. I think in all seriousness, soybeans was the better trap trade. And I can prove that. If everybody's willing to spend 10 minutes and learn from what happened here. And by the way, I forgot to welcome everybody on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching and watching our stream. Hit the like button, folks, if you like what you see. We're trading live markets. We really appreciate you being here. Now you're getting that 4-minute reversal on both instruments. So look, if our testing shows that we need to wait 4 minutes for the trap, and we could make $500 waiting the 4 minutes, that's what we'll do, okay? We'll wait the 4 minutes. That's what it appears we might have done, and it would have helped today. And let me prove it, all right? How am I going to prove it? By downloading the data and rerunning these trades. So we could learn while the memory is totally fresh of what happened in these trades. So Both breakouts, I believe, would have worked. Let's download both data. Market replay, load. So today is the 12th. I'm going to download corn 1222. This only takes a minute, so there's no reason to run out of the room. This is very important learning, just as important as taking the trade, in my opinion. And I'm going to download soybeans. All right. So let's do the easy thing. Let's do what we did first. We had 2 trap trades. Okay. I'm going to disconnect live. Look, it would have been beautiful if I waited 5 minutes on corn. And or let's see if soy survived the move. I believe it did. Disconnect live, connect replay, playback. And now I'm just going to put my date on 7/12. Okay. And I'm going to replay these trades. So watch. Both boxes are 7/12, and I'm going to put my time on 11:59 and 45 seconds. 15 seconds before the trade, okay, before the event. Because remember, my orders are going on the chart 7 seconds before the event. Now, my trades are already set up, but I'm going to do them one at a time. You know what? I think they were both not that scary. No, let's do them one at a time. So we'll do the corn trade first, because that's what we traded live. So corn. Now, what's interesting, it would have been real easy to do corn and a soybean breakout. It would have worked. There was a part of me that was really thinking, because the markets were so quiet, I kind of was thinking I'd like to do the breakout. I want a more volatile market for a trap trade, because remember, we want it to pop around a lot. So watch. Here's our trap trade. And there's the bug in Ninja I'm talking about. It reset the time to midnight, to 12 a.m. So I have to re-enter my time of trade. They keep telling me that's not a bug, but I finally got somebody in tech support that told me there is a fix for that. And then he never answered my email. So I had to re-email him again. As soon as I get the fix, believe me, we'll be discussing it. So here's a replay of this trap trade. Watch. Corn. Okay. My orders, we don't need this clock. Watch. So the price is going to go down. All right. It's going to fill only one tier. It didn't fill my second order. And when it started reversing, I took my profit. But let's just wait. Let's wait. Watch what happens if you don't take your profit. Now I can speed up the playback by clicking this up arrow. Okay. We don't have to wait 4 minutes. We can speed it up. So watch the price. You can see as a trap trade, it wasn't looking very good. And in fact, it starts to get you nervous, right? You're over $200 in the red, and it's starting to challenge the stop. But it's really starting to challenge the stop, but it doesn't get there. Or does it? Let's watch. I don't think it does. Whoa. I would be okay. We were well over $300 in the red. This was not an easy trade to wait. Not easy. Okay. Depends on your personal psychology. But look what happens. Now it's going to go all the way back up. All the way back up. Now that might have been all the data that was available for the playback, okay? But it went higher, so there was at least a $200 to $300 profit, all right? But you could see, but it needed quite a bit of time, okay? But the trap trade worked. Let's look at the breakout. So we have a corn trade. We change it to a breakout. How do I know what to change it to? The DMM, right? The DMM is the breakout. So here's our setup. We get rid of the trap. And this is, to answer Andrew, this is what we do. This is how we find trades, by doing this testing. So I have to put the time in. What time is the orders going to go on the chart? 11:59:59. Now WASDE, I'll do the exact DMM setup, but I said use a bracket of 8. That's what I'm using, because that's what I told you to use. Targets of 7 and 17. And this is a successful breakout. I'm positive it worked perfectly. And I said increase the stop by 2 ticks because we increased our bracket by 2 ticks. You got to do, it's a breakout trade. If you increase your stop, you increase your target, increase your stop. I'll say it again. If you increase your bracket, if you increase your bracket, you increase your stop by the same amount. So this was a breakout corn, okay? Playback. So watch what happens. It's going to be a perfect trade. So you put, I believe, you put your time in 11:59:50, 10 seconds before the event. Our orders are going to go on 11:59:59. Don't forget on playback to change time back to AM. Now watch if there's that bug I'm telling you about. If it resets the time to 12 a.m. It didn't. See? Oh, it did. I take it back. Hold on. Let's back up. I had my replay on fast. Let's back it up. It did not change the time. So we got to go back to 11:59. My replay was on super fast, so we didn't see anything. 11:59:50 a.m. We'll do it one more time. And, I do this all the time with replay. Forget to turn the trade on. Forget this, forget that. It's easy to goof. And that's the beauty of replay. You just do it over. Record it also. So here, we're using this clock. When it hits 59, my orders are going to show up, my bracket. There's my bracket. Price is going to go down. And this is going to be an easy winning trade. It would have been easy. It would have hit both targets. I would have moved my stop to break even plus a tick. Now look, if I move my stop to break even plus a tick, which I probably would have done, it would have taken us out of the trade with $100 profit. And all the times we talk about not moving your stop so much, watch if we do it slightly differently. Watch. It's so dramatic how important stop movement is. If you moved your stop less or didn't move it at all until you were sure you had a fat winner, watch what happens. So I'm redoing the trade, but I'm not going to move my stop. It's dramatic. And how in heaven's name do you always know how to deal with your stop? You don't. You just don't. Now, I don't move my stop. I'll let the price pull back. You could turn a winner into a loser by doing that. But now it's on its second move down. Now I am shrinking my stop. It's made its first reversal, okay? If it doesn't continue down now, I don't care if it stops me out. But I still want to show you, if you don't move your stop, it gives you the potential for a better profit on this trade. Now, look, because it wasn't a fanatically huge move, right? You might have to move your target, which I don't normally like to do. But this way, we could have at least almost doubled my profit. Still, as a breakout, not easy. You could see not easy because of the way the instrument moved. So let's look at soy, okay? Let's look at soy. So we'll do the trap trade over with soy. We didn't trade it, right? We didn't trade it, but I set it up. So let me change the time. 11:59, 45, 15 seconds before the event, 7 seconds before my orders are going to be placed on the soybean chart, my trap trade, okay? I just have to tell it the proper account because we went from live to playback. So account has nothing in it, playback. Now, I can apply it and okay it just like a normal trade. Press play for the time. Watch the clock. In a couple of seconds, our orders are going to show up. There's our orders, okay? It's going to shoot down. And look, it survived the stop. And it was a much better trap trade. Probably could have gotten out with about $300, okay? Maybe more. So look, maybe next month we'll go with soybeans because of their volatility for the trap. Maybe we'll go with soy, and maybe we'll increase the stop a little bit so we don't have to even think about it, okay? Because soy, last month, corn was the better trap, but I think in thinking it through, it might be a better trap trade overall with soy. But let's look at one more thing. We're here to learn. What if we did a breakout on soy? I think it would have been a phenomenal trade today. It looks like it would have been phenomenal. It's almost the same setup. The breakout is 11. Where do I get the settings? Off of the DMM, okay? 11:59, 59. Let's check. Let's make sure we're getting it right. Because I'll tell you, folks, this is just as important. Knowing how to do this in the long run will make you a successful event trader. If you know how to test, you can keep yourself out of bad trades, and you don't need us. And isn't that the ultimate goal, to be able to do this on your own? That's the ultimate goal, to succeed on your own. The entry time, 11:59:58. I said we'd use a bracket of 10. We upped it, so our stop is 14 because the sheet says 12. And then we have two positions. We have a target of 7 and a target of 17. And we're not going to cheat. We know it moved more. We're not going to make believe we don't know and, you know, try to trade it as a big winner. We're not. We just want to know the truth. We just want to know the truth. This was a great breakout trade. It's obvious. We could see it. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. So we're going to put our time on 11:59:50, 10 seconds before the event. Our orders are going to show up 1 second before the event. Our time is AM, not PM. And we're going to stay in the room for the bond report, folks. It's at 1 o'clock. We have nowhere to go. So now, let me fix something. The time needs to be 11:59, not 11:50. 11:59 and 50 seconds. Now, I'm going to replay. I'm going to play our first breakout trade on soybeans. Watch. My bracket's going to show up in a couple of seconds. Price is going to shoot down and give us a beautiful profit because the trade, but look what happened. Look what happened. If we didn't know that this market had volatility potential, we would have gotten stopped out. Look what soy did. It almost went to the top of the bracket. If you used a smaller bracket, it might have stopped you out. I just saw that out of the corner of my eye. Watch this. This is so important. These are the things you look for. These are the things that save you. Absolutely save you. I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to stop the price movement. Look, one tick away from stop. One. Not enough time to hit the adjust button. The adjust button. Okay? It would have, if you had time, adjusted price. One tick. So I would consider using maybe a 14 tick bracket when the market is as volatile as it was today. I don't want to be one tick away, but the breakout was perfect. Excellent breakout. I think it would have been appropriate to use, an 11 or a 12 bracket, an 11 or a 12 bracket. Al, what do you mean I missed the time? What do you mean I missed the time? Yeah, I put it 11:59. It is 11 because it's 12 and 32 seconds now. So who's got a question? So what did we learn? What did we learn here? We learned that both the breakout and the trap work currently on this report. What's the better setup? I think right now it's looking like the trap, if your setup is correct, on soybeans might be the best setup. But certainly corn, if you're patient, it seems like I've got a note. This is my second note now, where in my journal, my personal journal, it says that corn took more than 5 minutes to get to the trap target. So you gotta put that in your journal. So the next time you do a trap with corn, you wait. Remember, we're 10-minute trades. We got 10 minutes. We can wait 10 minutes. And you know what? We can take 15 minutes. If one trade in 100 goes outside of 10-minute trades, it's, we're not going to lose any sleep over that. So did anyone trade this live? Did anyone trade live? I know there's a lot of people out there, and I know that some of you would have just traded the breakout on the DMM. Did anybody take the trade live? Lawrence, our live trade was the trap trade on corn, and we made like 140 bucks. 150, roughly. That was my live trade. Okay. No one traded live. No one's here who's like a previous member. Okay. Took the trap trade on ZC EVA. Okay, good. You should be practicing the trap in Sim. And Larry, what was the error? I'm always interested in what the error would be. And it depends also, did you trade it with our, well, you didn't use our software, did you? Or did you? If you got an error with software, I want to know what the error was. And if you used, what settings you used, preferably, if you can tell me. So look, it was not a simple breakout trade on corn. It was an easy breakout on soy. And it was a pretty easy trap trade on soy. So isn't that fascinating? It's just the way it goes. You just don't know. You just don't know. So you journal it. That way we know next month. Then next month. So because of this, next month is complicated again. Because everything is working. Everything is working. Okay. So, okay, so you should always record, take a picture of an error so that we know what it is. So that we know what it is. Okay. Anytime if you ever get an error, folks, always take a picture of it, send it to us so we could, make sure everything's okay. Sometimes errors happen. That's part of event trading. Sometimes errors happen, and sometimes you can't do a darn thing about them. That's the truth. And it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes it just happens. But sometimes an error occurs that shouldn't. Those are the ones I'm interested in, okay? Those are the ones I'm interested in. So we've done some testing. So let's be honest, all right? We need to be honest about everything. First of all, I want to thank everybody that watched us on YouTube. Thank you so much for streaming with us, and we'll see you next week for our next stream of the week. So Chantal, thank you so much. And thank you everyone on YouTube. We'll see you all next week.